the 2-0. Turned in the air to right field. Going back of Gonzalez out the wall. Goodbye. 3-0 in game 5.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to M&A Sports episode number 15, guys. It was a great Memorial Day weekend for me. Hopefully, it was for all of you who are listening. It was an interesting week in sports, I'll tell you that. We had a huge kind of historical way that fell a little short. We're going to start with the NBA playoff. That is the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. Before we do that, out of last night, we also had Aiden Roman. I'm Matthew Kaufman. Guys, first, let's start with this. How was your Memorial Day weekend?
Honestly, mine was pretty fun. Hung out with the family, kept it simple. So, what about you, Adam?
Got a chance to spend some time with my friends in the Poconos. Had a blast up there. Yeah, it was fun. Just now back home to reality. So it's nice to talk sports again.
Yeah, now, something that I kind of noticed during Memorial Day and everything, there really wasn't a lot of, besides baseball, obviously, and Monday night we had a little bit of sports going on, but I always feel like there should be some big event on Monday night, a big sport event that kind of recognizes for what Memorial Day is. So maybe we'll get that in the future. Who knows? Obviously baseball knows their stuff. Football is not in session at this point, obviously, in the season. NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, but definitely some fun activities, barbecues, all that, family get-togethers. I'll tell you something, a team who did get it together, guys, the Boston Celtics, we said last week, it's going to take a miracle for them to come back in this series. They came back in the series. They tied it in 3 consecutive games, 2 of which and multiple games. They had to be on the road in Miami. They won Game 6 in South Beach to force Game 7. It wasn't easy, but they did come up a little bit short in Game 7 at home. Let's start with how this team came back in this series. They were down 3-0 at one point. That is no easy task to come back and for anything or any reason win a series. They almost made history, but they came up, as we said, a little bit short.
As the games were going on day by day, I was really hoping that my script wasn't wrong. But once again, the script is wrong. I did have them coming back 3-0, but I had them winning in Game 7. A fortunate loss for the Celtics. But if you really dig deep into the stats for Game 7, I did have them winning along with probably most other fans. They're hot. Just won 3 in a row. After being down 3-0. You could see the game plan that they had. It's really, if you make the threes, you'll win. If not, you'll lose. If you look at the stats right here, the 3-pointers are going to start with Miami. 14 of 28. Shot 50%. As you can see, I would say pretty dominant win, 103-84. But then you look at the Celtics. Can you guys take a guess on what their 3-point percentage was as a team? Start off with you, Matt.
I'm definitely going to say it was lower. Just watching the game, it seemed like it was a struggle to shoot threes. Now, I'm guessing, and not because I'm looking at ESPN telling you this, but they were 9 for 42 shooting threes. That is not how you're going to win games. And we saw with what this Boston Celtics team did in order to come back in this series, they were able to make the threes, but at the same time, they were able to play defense, get rebounds. We saw that a little bit, but they weren't making the big shots that they needed to. Besides the fact, let's go to the opening possession of this game. Jason Kidd screwed up his ankle. That changed the entire Game 7, Adam.
Yeah, for the Boston Celtics, they laid an egg on their home floor in Game 7. It's just, that's as hard as you can put it. But when I look back on this series, I look back on after Game 3, and I saw this post a couple of days ago when they were down 3-0 about Al Horford talking to the team. They didn't even go to practice after Game 3. He took them to Topgolf, and they won 3 in a row. It just shocks me that they felt like they had that much confidence, and they did. And Jaylen Brown kept saying, "Don't let us win, don't let us win." And then they laid an egg in Game 7, and Miami just proved why they're the better team.
Speaking
basically walked through the East.
Speaking of shocking, I don't know if you guys saw this tweet that went out. I think Bleacher Report threw it out. I'm not really sure. The Miami Heat, prior to Game 7, they booked their flights to Denver. That kind of dumbfounded me. I mean, money's definitely not a problem for them, but to have that much confidence in a team of all, what's a nice way to say it? Not amazing players.
And when I did see that, Aiden, because I did obviously, and everyone kind of seemed like they saw that all over the place. This is a Miami Heat team that you did that after the fact. You just lost 3 straight games. Okay, it's not like you were winning 3 straight games at that point. No. You lost 3 straight games, and you're going on the road to Boston, and you book a flight to Denver. Don't get me wrong, you love the confidence. That's what you want as a team. But is that confidence or is that cockiness, it seemed like?
I'll be honest. They were probably trying to put pressure on the Celtics because they knew the pressure was going to be right back on them right after they won Game 6. They knew that was going to happen, and they weren't ready for it. It's just simple as that. It's that simple.
After winning 3 in a row, I really thought the Celtics had it, covered. But it just shows that even Miami Heat, the series, any series, especially a best of 7 or first of 7 in this case, can go either way. I know everybody, once they were down 3-0, everybody had them losing. I'm not going to lie. I even had Celtics losing for a minute until I saw the messed up script.
Now, I want to mention the fact that in Game 7 last night, Boston not only was 9 for 42 from beyond the arc, they were 32 of 82. Now, thinking of that is not an offense that is really going to win you games. Now, let's be honest, because there is not much in the NBA that you do score like that, okay? When you do play games like that, and your offense is rolling, okay? For Miami, this was a team that had 42 rebounds. Your offensive, okay? 35 defensive rebounds for Miami last night. And that goes out of the 32 made shots by Boston. 32 made field goals last night. That's the difference in the game. Besides Jason Tatum getting banged up early, which we saw, and it's been a mention of if Tatum doesn't get banged up, maybe does it go another way. I still don't think it goes another way because it had nothing to do with how the rest of his teammates shot the basketball last night. It was a struggle to shoot the basketball, no matter which way you look at it. All right? Now, obviously, Miami had struggles in recent games shooting the basketball. Jimmy Butler struggled in Game 6, especially. We saw that. But it just has to seem like everything is in one bubble, especially for a Boston team that was down 3-0. They come back 3-3 to tie, but you can't miss as many shots as you did in a game 7. Just can't. That's only going to mess up your team. You're not going to put points on the scoreboard, and that's how you win games. So if you're Boston and you're kind of looking at the offseason now, okay, maybe we need to go out and get some different shooters. How do we fix this? Because I'll tell you one thing. This was a great Boston team all year. There's no doubt about it. That's why they were the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs. But how do you take the struggle of shooting in this game and get ready for next season? That's obviously off-season conversations for Boston and what they have to figure out. Obviously, the draft coming up. But Adam, if you look ahead to what Boston could have done, if they were able to shoot the basketball, let's say Boston did beat Miami last night. Do you see the Celtics beating Denver in the finals?
No, I don't, because the Nuggets are just too good. The Heat are not even going to beat the Denver Nuggets. It's just not going to happen. And when we look at Boston for the offseason, they've been through this before with point guards. They traded away Isaiah Thomas for Kyrie Irving, which is the worst thing they could have possibly done. Then they tried getting Kemba Walker, who was playing basically on one leg. That didn't work. And now they tried using Tatum and Brown, which I think was the smarter move, which obviously last year it paid off when they went to the finals. And getting Malcolm Brogdon was the move that they needed. And he won Sixth Man of the Year, obviously. And they have to re-sign him. The Celtics don't need to figure out a point guard situation. If they stay with where they're at and regroup, I think they can bounce back next year. But they got to prove it first.
Speaking about Malcolm Brogdon, I'm just looking at the minutes and stats right now. For being Sixth Man of the Year, you'd think they'd have a little more trust in him and give him more minutes. He had 7 minutes played in that Game 7. For being Sixth Man of the Year and having only 3 of your starting 5 getting above double-digit points, yeah, Jaylen Brown with 19, Tatum with 14, Derek White with 18, and Malcolm Brogdon with 0. You need to give it. It's not just about giving minutes to your players off the bench. It's about having more trust in them. You see, the starters are definitely not, getting it done. But for Sixth Man of the Year, you have to have more trust.
Now, let's look at the opponent for the Miami Heat. That's the Denver Nuggets. And Adam, this is a team that's won 6 consecutive games. Okay? This is a team that swept LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers, right? They took 4 out of 6 against the Suns, and they took 4 out of 5 against the Timberwolves. So this is a team that is going to be tough to beat. And I'll tell you, obviously, we know Nikola Jokic is probably one of the best in the league. There's no doubt about it. There's no question about it. But how do you stop the Denver Nuggets if you're the Miami Heat?
If you're Miami right now, you can't just worry about double teaming this guy because Bam Adebayo is not going to be able to guard him by himself. He's not going to be able to because Jokic just had that finger roll. He had the shots, and he has the height advantage in this matchup. It's pretty obvious. And when you look at the point guard, the Nuggets win this battle as well. Jamal Murray is the better point guard in this series, but the best player for Miami is obviously going to be Jimmy Butler in the series. The X factor, it's going to be Caleb Martin. Because Caleb Martin played absolutely amazing, and he almost won the conference finals MVP. He was 1 vote away from winning it, and he's going to have to prove. He's going to have to prove in the finals why he's with the Miami Heat, and the Heat brought him here for a reason. It's like we were saying this last time about all these undrafted guys they have: Max Strus, Duncan Robinson, and all these other guys they have. It's just the development of what the Heat have done. They have to prove it against the number 1 seed in the West, and we'll see how they do.
Speaking about undrafted players, obviously the Miami Heat have some heart. Coming from the 8th seed, they lost Game 1 in the play-ins, and then come back to this incredible run, and now they're in the NBA Finals against the Nuggets. As much as I like to say that, heart over talent, it's just not true. Talent right here for the Denver Nuggets between Jamal Murray and the should have been 3-time MVP, Nikola Jokic. There's just too much talent between them two. Even if they do not stop Jimmy Butler and his amazing scoring, I don't see the Miami Heat even making it a close series. I say they lose in 5.
Now, if you were to pick an MVP from or a prediction MVP, okay, that is not Jokic and not Jimmy Butler, who is your finals MVP based on the team that you think is going to win this series? Aiden, we'll start with you.
Only because I think they're going to always press and double team Jokic. Obviously, I have to go with Jamal Murray. I think he's going to come through clutch like he has been all postseason long, really. I think he's going to win that.
Pretty obvious you stole my answer there, but yeah, I have Nuggets in 6, and yes, I do think Jamal Murray is going to win it, but do not forget about Michael Porter Jr. Do not forget about him, or even I'm not gonna say Aaron Gordon, but yeah, Michael Porter Jr. probably.
Now, as usual, I'm gonna disagree with you guys, but I do think somehow that I'm not saying Miami does win. But I think that they do keep it a closer series than a lot of people think. And that is because of the heart that this Miami Heat team has. This is a team that is an 8th seed and had to play to get into the playoffs and play in. They're in the NBA Finals for a reason. not just because of luck. They are a good team. They have great players. They have undrafted players that probably shouldn't have even been playing in a playoff game that are starting in playoff games. Okay? This is a team that I think has what it takes to win an NBA Finals, and I think it's a team that could beat the Denver Nuggets. Are they going to beat them? I don't know. Can I see if this team is able to win? And if they do, it's going to come on shots from behind the arc. And I'll tell you who is going to make the shots. If the Heat win, I have 2 Finals MVPs. I have Caleb Martin and Duncan Robinson because those two combined, I think, besides Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, were the 2 best shooters in that conference finals, no matter what. They were able to get the shots. Yes, Duncan Robinson missed a couple shots in Game 6 that probably would have given them the lead, probably could have won the game and ended the series right there. But at the same time, I think that if Duncan Robinson and Caleb Martin have as good as a series against the Nuggets and they played an entire NBA playoff, Miami Heat beats the Nuggets and shocks the world.
Here's what I'll say. Matt, I have a question for you. If you were to compare this Heat team this year to the one that played against the Lakers in the bubble, what would you say the major differences are? Not just players, but just the differences in general.
I think it's the heart of this team. There's no doubt. I think the team that they have been built around, okay? This is a Heat team that has been heartbroken before in the playoffs. Right? This is a team that is put together more than others. Okay? This is a team that beat the Knicks, right? They had a great defense. This is a team that beat the Bucks. That's not a 7 seed. That's not a 6 seed or 3 seed or a 4 seed. That was the number 1 seed, guys, in the Eastern Conference. They beat them. Now, I know Giannis is a little banged up, obviously. Everyone's banged up. You're at the wit's end of the season. You're in the playoffs. Miami also did it without Tyler Hero. Correct? This is a team that has been able to put everything together. Not that Miami was able to do this in the bubble. This is a team, I think, that wants to win, needs to win, should win, and definitely can win. And obviously, with this team, okay, coming off the series they had with Denver. Now, don't get me wrong. Boston. Boston's a great team. Miami was the better team. Okay? They had more heart. They had more energy. Don't get me wrong. Boston was loud yesterday. There's no doubt. Boston was loud. That Garden was amazing last night with the fans, even with the loss. Miami's the better team out of those two. Denver, the 1 seed, obviously. We know that. But Miami's heart, I think, is bigger than Denver's. And that's why that's the difference, Adam, as you asked, between Miami this year and when they played the Lakers. It's the heart and it's the will to win and jump over that hump, it seems like. They want to get over that hump. They want to get a ring. And I think Jimmy Butler is going to be the guy to lead them there.
Well, like I said before, obviously I have to disagree with you're very it could be true. Everything in your statement could, come true. Miami could, make the series closer or even win. But like I said before, as much heart as the team has, the amount of talent the Denver Nuggets have. Now, I'm really upset. This isn't me being biased because the New York Knicks are out or any other like the 76ers who I was going to root for if the Knicks did get knocked out. But they also got knocked out.
Yeah, they did.
The Nuggets, they're going to overpower the Heat, in my opinion. I don't think the Heat keep it close at all. Basically, everything that you said about the Heat, almost reverse it. I would say one thing. I am a little worried because Tyler Hero is said to come back Game 3. Now, if he does come back fully healthy Game 3, I think the series goes a whole nother direction. because now you're not just worrying about Jimmy Butler or Duncan Robinson, like you said, or Taylor Martin. You also have to worry about the corner shooter, or really anywhere shooter, Tyler Hero.
Now, do you think that if Hero comes back, how much of an impact, Aiden, do you think that gives not just to Miami, but to the shooting ability of the Heat and the players around him?
I would say it makes a humongous impact. Like I said, I think the series takes a whole different turn. I think because you can't only focus on Jimmy Butler, or if Martin's hot, you can't only focus on him because you don't want Tyler Hero getting hot as well. Because when he's hot, he is on.
Now, Adam, this is a team that not a lot of people thought could win against Milwaukee. They were a little doubtful against the Knicks. They didn't think anyone was going to beat Boston after Boston won that series against Philadelphia. But Miami did it, right? They're the team to beat, it seems like. They're the team with the momentum. Denver's had 7 days off. They've been sitting and chilling, watching this series go back and forth. So how does Denver get back on track after sitting off for those 7 days?
Well, I'm sure they've had the time to look at the film and everything, and I'm sure Coach Mike Malone's been making sure they're watching this series, just making sure they know what to expect for game one on their home floor. But now they do know what to expect. They're getting the Miami Heat, and they're getting them for a good reason because the Heat are not satisfied. Jimmy Butler is not satisfied at all. He wants this ring. He wants it more than anyone in this series coming up on Thursday, and you're going to expect that. And when Tyler Hero comes back in Game 3, which I believe it is confirmed, he will be back for Game 3 in Miami. That's going to be a huge boost. That means that's going to help out the shooting, which is already amazing, and it's going to be even better. And it's going to be tough for the Nuggets to stop the Heat's 3-point shooting.
Now, let's talk about one more thing before we head and switch topics, and that is with the offense that Miami brought in the series against Boston. Is that offense enough to beat the Denver defense that has looked good, right? Is it enough to beat Denver? And if it is, by how much? How many games could Miami get ahead here? Aiden, we'll start with you. We'll start with you.
It's only enough if the Heat's defense is enough. That's how I'm feeling about this. Because if they can guard Nikola Jokic, if they can defend the 3-point line with Caldwell Pope and Porter, if they can guard Aaron Gordon and all these guys, if they can somehow get a rhythm and figure this out, they can win at least 2, maybe 3 if they're lucky. If they're lucky. I'm not gonna say they're gonna win the series, but I'll give them a slight chance. But we'll figure out on Thursday.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick timeout right here on M&A Sports Talk, episode number 15. Don't forget, you could listen to us not only on YouTube, but also now on Spotify. Don't forget to check us out on M&A Sports Talk on Instagram as well. Matthew Kaufman, Aiden Roman, Adam Rothschild. We'll take a quick timeout and be right back. And we got MLB to talk about when we come back. All right, welcome back to M&A Sports Talk. I'm Matthew Kaufman, joined alongside Aiden Roman and Adam Rothschild. Guys, it's been an eventful weekend in sports, especially with the NBA playoffs that we just talked about. But it seems like it's been more eventful for Aaron Judge. I mean, this is a guy that was on the 10-day IL, and he is tearing up the big leagues once again. He is just unbelievable, this guy. Hit 2 home runs last night in Seattle. Robbed a home run last night against Teoscar Hernandez. Hernandez even tweeted out after the game, why? Well, Aaron Judge replied, you've hit so many over my head, I figured it'd be time to hit a couple against you too. So 2 guys with some friendly fire back and forth, but just how could you stop Aaron Judge? And walking him isn't the answer anymore, it seems like.
I mean, I saw a stat earlier today. It showed through 45 games, Aaron Judge last season and through 45 games. Aaron Judge this season, in every single category, maybe I think his average is a little bit lower, but in every single category, offensively, Aaron Judge is better than his MVP season last year. I think he put up 62, maybe even 63 home runs. You never know. He's on pace for it again, but he needs to keep that hot streak going and, stay healthy, obviously.
Now, remember, Judge was healthy all year last year and put these numbers up. Hit 62 home runs. He missed with a 10-day IL. He missed a good amount of games. And he still has that many home runs. He is still batting as well as he has. He has not missed a beat. And before you know it, the Yankees are going to get Josh Donaldson back. They're going to get Giancarlo Stanton back. So there's really not much you could do here to go around Aaron Judge, because behind him you got Rizzo. Then you'll have Donaldson, you have Stanton. And Aiden, your eyes are popping out of your head here. What do you got for us?
So I know you're talking about, the injury bug and finally getting maybe Josh Donaldson back. I got news from the Yankees. They tweeted out about 4 hours ago. They're playing three important people for the Yankees are playing tonight in the AA Somerset. We got, obviously, Josh Donaldson, and then we got Tommy Kahnle. And then followed by that, in the AAA, we have the AA is Giancarlo Stanton, and the AAA is Josh Donaldson and Kahnle. Now, am I ready for Josh Donaldson to come back? I don't know. I mean, I think right now he'd be better offensively than Oswaldo Cabrera. As good as he was last year, he's not producing as much this year. I don't know if you guys agree with me on that.
Yeah, and something that has kind of caught my eye, especially watching these games, and I try my best to watch every night. If not, I'll watch the highlights or just kind of go over the box score of each game and see who's hot, who's not. But something that the Yankees really emphasized in the offseason, and something Aaron Boone talked about, was where's Waldo going to be, right? He's been all over the place, as Aaron Boone said he was going to be. Now, you bring Josh Donaldson back, and I'll tell you one thing. It doesn't hurt the Yankees to bring back Donaldson because of the defense that he brings, especially now with a little bit of injury concern with Anthony Rizzo, who's, again, out of the lineup tonight. He was out of the lineup last night after the collision the other day on Sunday with Fernando Tatis Jr. after Higashioka tried picking him off at first base. But with LeMahieu, who's able to play first base, obviously, then you have Donaldson when he comes back healthy. If Rizzo's not in the lineup, you're still having the same production, you hope, offensively that Anthony Rizzo would bring, because Rizzo's been great all year for the Yankees. That's why they re-signed him. That's why they originally got Anthony Rizzo from the Cubs. But if Josh Donaldson could do what he did not do last year, and that's produce offensively, no matter what, put the defense aside. We know he's a great defensive player. That's why the Yankees really got him. It's the offense that they're looking for. If the offense could get going for Josh Donaldson, he could be in that lineup every single day, and DJ LeMahieu could be more of, where's DJ today? And I definitely think that the way that Isaiah Kiner-Falefa has played, you got to give credit to him. I mean, this is a guy that I know before, Adam, you started with us here on M&A Sports Talk, me and Aiden were a little questionable about IKF. I'll tell you right now, he has become a very important guy on this team. Walk off on Saturday against the Padres, couple hits last night. He had 3 hits. He's hit a home run in 3 games. He has now 3 home runs this year. Really didn't have many last year. Has hit a couple of big ones. And he just seems to be on base a lot more. He's more consistent. His defense in the outfield is good. And with the question of what's going on with Harrison Bader, he had hamstring tightness. This is another guy that for the Yankees could help you out. And that's why IKF, I think, is not going to go anywhere with the Yankees. Okay. He's going to be on this team unless when the trade deadline comes, if the Yankees find something a little different, maybe the way that Kiner-Falefa is playing. But I for sure see IKF in the lineup most likely every day. Not obviously every day. He needs a day off, just like everybody does. But I think in games where they need guys like IKF, he's able to pull that ball down the line. He did it last night against Seattle. He went right down the third baseline. That is not an easy play for a third baseman. All right. I play third base. Aiden, you play infield in baseball also. That is no easy play for an infielder to dive to your right hand as a right-handed thrower. You got to dive and put that left hand out. That's not an easy play to make, really. So I think the way that IKF has hit the baseball these past couple of days, and Adam, I don't know what your thoughts on this are. I don't know how much you cared for IKF, but I'll definitely tell you he's kind of changed my mind a little bit compared to what we saw last year with Kiner Falefa and the defensive errors. But I definitely think IKF has become a big part in this Yankee lineup, and I think he'll continue to be. Adam, what do you think?
Well, first off, we knew this year that he was not going to get the shortstop job. We knew Volpe was going to get it. Like we just had a weird feeling. And IKF knew he was going to have to be the glue guy, the guy that just had to fill in another role, and he's done just that, you know. And it's great to watch what he's been able to do, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the season and see if he can because he's proved why he wants to be here with the Yankees, and he's done that so far.
Now, speaking of proving, I'm going to go out a little bit into like a somewhat different topic to the pitching side of things. Do you think Carlos Rodon, obviously he is coming back. He's with the team right now in Seattle. It's just a matter of when. Do you think he'd be as dominant as we're all kind of hoping he'd end up being? Or do you think he'd be more of a, not mediocre, but average type of pitcher?
Kind of like a Frankie Montas situation from last year.
Yes.
You know, obviously all Yankee fans hope that he is what they brought him here for, and that was to be a dominant pitcher, to be the second ace of the staff. But if you look at the Yankee rotation, Garrett Cole's obviously your number one. There's no doubt. Luis Severino comes back. He's pitched 2 games. He's pitched really well, right? Could he be your number 2? Oh, yeah, definitely. Because remember, when Cole wasn't a Yankee, Severino was pretty much your ace, okay? So I think it could be Cole, Sevy, and if Rodon pitches as well as he's hyped to pitch, and like he did with the Giants, the reason the Yankees brought him here, this is a dominant pitching staff. If Cortez could get something figured out, giving up the long ball, and Clark Schmidt could get it going, this is a team that is a good pitching staff with the offense. When they could hit, they could hit. Everyone knows that. We saw them put up 10 runs last night. Another guy that is really starting to get picked up, that's Kyle Higashioka. A couple of big hits yesterday, last night against Seattle. Had a couple of big hits on Sunday in the dominant win over the Padres. So definitely some things looking up for the Yankees in both the offensive side and the pitching staff. But I think Carlos Rodon coming back for New York and Tommy Kahnle, 2 big pitchers that the Yankees got in this offseason, to have them come back definitely could change a lot of things for the Yankees. There's no doubt.
Now, on the same subject as pitching, just on the other side of the plate, catching. Obviously, Trevino, you can't complain about him. Everybody loves him. Amazing behind the plate. Could do a little better batting wise, but between him and Kyle Higashioka, I know you just mentioned, it kind of clicked something in my mind. I was talking about it with a couple of friends yesterday. When you look at Clark Schmidt, you always see Kyle Higashioka catching him. I don't think there's been many occasions this season, at least, where Kyle Higashioka hasn't caught him before. Now, when you look at the ERA, it is in the high 5s. He has been doing a little better recently, and I'm not gonna lie, I pinned that against Clark Schmidt. I always said, oh, he's not the best pitcher, he's not this, blah, blah, blah. Now, I saw a stat last season from Garrett Cole when Higashioka caught him compared to when Trevino caught him. Now, this really opened my eyes, and maybe it's not Clark Schmidt's fault about the high ERA. When I looked at when Cole and Trevino played together, Cole averaged a 2.8 roughly ERA. Not the worst, but not the best. When Higashioka caught Garrett Cole, Cole averaged above a 5 ERA. Now, do you think that plays a big factor during the trade, like in any trade? Do you think we see us shipping off Higashioka and maybe letting Ben Rotvert stay, or do you think we just stay with what we have and try to figure something out?
I think that it could go either way, honestly. And I think a big reason that Ben Rotvert should be in the major league still, he's another lefty bat in your lineup, right? Rizzo's a lefty. He's all-the-time lefty. Cabrera's a switch hitter, right? This is a team that doesn't have many lefties. So having your lefty as a catcher is big for you because it puts another lefty in your lineup, right? Remember, the reason that the Yankees really got Rizzo a couple of years ago because of the non-lefties in the lineup. Joey Gallo was another lefty in that lineup. Aaron Hicks, switch hitter, mainly batted from the left side with the amount of righties in Major League Baseball. So I think, could you have 3 catchers in the major leagues? Yes. How is it going to affect you as a team? That's, a little bit of a question. But if the time is right and if things do go the way that it would concern Kyle Higashioka in a trade, is it the worst thing in the world? No. Is it something that obviously would benefit the Yankees? It depends on what they get. If they're going to go get one of the top relievers in the league or another really good defensive player, someone who could really produce on offense or a better catcher, there isn't many better catchers in the league. The Yankees really have 2 of the best framing catchers defensively, no matter which way you look at it. Higashioka is starting to pick things up offensively, which is a great sign for the Yankees because it always seems like the catching position has been a struggle offensively. So I definitely think Higashioka could be a question for trade. Is it likely? Most likely not, just because of how this team uses those 2 in Trevino and Higashioka. Adam, do you agree, disagree? What are your thoughts kind of on what would happen here?
To be honest, I think they're probably going to stick with Higashioka just because of the experience that he's brought to the Yankees. I think Ben Rotvert is definitely getting close to the level that he's at, but it's still good. Probably need a little more development. But I don't see the Yankees making a move, trading Kyle Higashioka at the trade deadline. That wouldn't make sense to me because I'm not really sure what players they could get in return for a catcher like him, because it's really going to depend on that. But I see Higashioka staying the rest of the year. But the offseason in the winter, they might do something.
Now, Higashioka is one of the longest Yankees that are on this team. Now, obviously, the Yankees, we talked about last week, they let go of Aaron Hicks. He was just recently signed by the AL East rival, Baltimore Orioles. So, it's I don't know. It's weird, I would say, to see Aaron Hicks in a uniform that's not the Yankees, just because of how good of a guy Aaron Hicks was. Obviously you could say, yeah, he struggled. There's no doubt. He couldn't hit. His defense was awful. But the guy that Aaron Hicks was off the field is really what the Yankees are going to miss most. And something the Orioles really do get is a really good guy with Aaron Hicks. I'm not going to lie. I could see Aaron Hicks probably tearing up the Yankees, hits 5 home runs in, the next 2 times the Yankees play him. So just seems that way. Joey Gallo did it when he went to the Twins during this season already. But I definitely think that the trade deadline is going to be interesting this year for the Yankees because of, and it's all based on, I think, what's going to happen with Rodon on the pitching side. Do the Yankees need to go get more pitching? Do they need to get more relief pitching? Right? They kind of already have their closer kind of figured out, it seemed like, with Peralta, Clay Holmes. Holmes obviously has looked a little better in recent games. So the trade deadline's going to be interesting, as I said before, but I don't see Higashioka going anywhere. I don't see Kiner-Falefa going anywhere. I think the Yankees, the way they have it now and the way they're playing, has definitely been a lot better, and that has to do with the fact Judge is in the lineup. Bader was in the lineup. Again, not in the lineup today with hamstring tightness. Rizzo's been hot. Torres has been hitting. Higashioka, Kiner-Falefa, they've all been hitting. So definitely interesting, I'll say, for what the Yankees could do. Let's go to the other New York team. That's the New York Mets. Now, I got one guy to talk about before anything else. Francisco Alvarez. This guy has been amazing. Okay, he could be a rookie of the year. In 104 at-bats this year, 28 hits, 8 of them have been home runs. He's batting .269, 19 RBIs. Guys, he is hot.
Speaking of being hot, I have to agree with you. When I saw that Gary Sanchez, got signed to the Mets, I was happy because I am a humongous Gary Sanchez fan, as you guys know. But in my head, that pickup for the Mets didn't really make sense to me. You have amazing catchers already, rookie catchers to say the least, especially Alvarez. Like you just said, what an amazing freak of nature he really is. But now, I think it was a smart move for the Mets to drop him. Kind of give him a little bit and see what he was about. I know he did tear up. Gary Sanchez did tear up in their minor leagues, but obviously the big leagues is a whole different ballgame.
Now, with what the Mets have, right? We saw this in the home series against the Guardians and the Rays. They had Vientos, Beatty, and Alvarez. Three young guys that are in their lineup. All three of them were in the lineup the other day in Colorado. These are young guys, and we've talked about giving the young guys a chance. They have proven themselves pretty well so far, and you can see the Mets have turned things around, Adam, without a doubt.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The Mets have obviously had this big turnaround. This is a different Mets team than in recent seasons, of course, with Pete Alonso being the home run hitter that he is, just hitting home runs all over the place. Francisco Lindor hitting clutch hits against Cleveland and Tampa Bay, of course. And they've just been on a roll, and it's great to watch the Mets what they're doing right now. Obviously, they're still third in their division, but work for them is not finished, and they have a lot more to prove still, since it's still early in the year.
Adam, do you see the Mets being a playoff team this year?
I do, as of now. I do.
And what about you? Do you think this is a team that could come back from third place, maybe take over first place over Atlanta? Do you think this team could do that, or do you think they're going to be more of a wild card team and just barely make it into the playoffs?
Just like last season, I don't see the Braves not being first place, but I also don't see the Marlins staying in second place, the whole entire season. So I'm going to go, the Braves are definitely going to finish first. The Mets, I'm going to have finishing second, but the Phillies obviously fitting right into that third spot.
Now, speaking of the Marlins, there's a guy that I want to say something about, Jorge Soler. Now, you'll remember him from his Atlanta Braves days when he hit the big home runs in the World Series against the Astros. He is also a guy that could pimp one out in a blink of an eye. 17 home runs this year. He's home run in 5 straight games. That is not an easy thing to do, guys. We know that. 5 straight games he's had a home run. He's got 17. He's 3 behind the NL League leader in the National League in home runs, which is Pete Alonso. It's a battle between 2 NL East players, Alonso and Soler. But this is a guy that just has power. We talk about guys like Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, Pete Alonso, guys who could really hit it out. Jorge Soler is not mentioned as much, I don't think, and someone who should be mentioned more in the power game because, with what Miami has, right, you have a guy like Luis Ariz, who is more of a contact on-base hitter. Jorge Soler bringing the power to the lineup the way he has, I think gives Miami a big advantage. And Aiden, I'm going to have to disagree with you on this. I think that Miami does stay within the 2 or 3 spot in the NL East because of the pitching that they have right now with Sandy Alcantara and who to follow, and also the at-bats that this team produces. Luis Arraez, Jorge Soler, Birdie, Garrett Cooper. These are guys that not a lot of people talk about, and not a lot of people talk about this Marlins team. They're good, right? The pitching is good. The offense produces. Jazz Chisholm, when he's healthy, he's on fire. But Jorge Soler is a big part of this lineup. He's a guy that should, I think, definitely be mentioned a lot more. We got a little bit more to talk about right here on M&A Sports Talk. When we come back, the question in the air in the NFL, not only was Aaron Rodgers enjoying the Taylor Swift concert, someone who's enjoying a little bit of free agency is DeAndre Hopkins. Where does he end up? We'll find out hopefully soon, and we'll talk about where we think he should go when we come back right here on M&A Sports Talk. Well, welcome back to M&A Sports Talk. Matthew Kaufman, Aiden Roman, and Adam Rothschild with you tonight. Not only has Aaron Rodgers been dancing to Shake It Off in MetLife Stadium, his new home for this season in the NFL with the Jets, but he has been kind of enjoying himself, it seems like, in New York with the weapons he has and what he is looking and seeing for this 2023 season, Adam.
Yeah, the New York Jets. I know people don't want me saying this yet, but they're back. The Jets are back. I know it's hard to believe. Season hasn't even started yet, but they're going to have a Monday night against Buffalo on September 11th for the first game of the season, and that's where the pressure begins for Aaron Rodgers. That's where it's going to begin. The Jets have the pieces. They just got to prove it.
Now let's talk about the weapons he has, right? Breece Hall is going to come back from the injury that he suffered in Denver. He a great running back, shifty, catch out of the backfield. They got the defense, it seems, pretty much figured out with Sauce, the Williams brothers. Now, the offense, we saw Alan Lazard come over. They have Garrett Wilson. They got weapons. How does Aaron Rodgers use those weapons, though? That's going to be the question, because is Rodgers going to be able to play in a city as big as New York, produce, win games, and possibly win another MVP, and hopefully for Jets fans, what they hope to be a Super Bowl?
Now, if you ask me, do I think Aaron Rodgers will be good in New York? 100%. So I think he'll be an MVP or even close to anything like that caliber of a quarterback? Probably not. I'm going to kind of stick with what I was saying, I think, during the Arugas podcast. I think Aaron Rodgers is not going to be able to get it done in the Big Apple.
Now, what kind of thought process are you going with there? Is that just you don't think he's got what it takes for the big stage? Is it just maybe the weapons are too much for Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, the weapons are 100% there for Aaron Rodgers, but I'm going to go with that first thing you just said. The stage is a lot different compared to Green Bay. The stage is you're in New York. You see how competitive baseball is. You see how competitive the Giants were last year. Throughout the first couple of games of them booing, or not first couple of games, I think it was last season, the 2021 season, them booing Daniel Jones just for him to come out the next season and be almost 3 times better than he ever was for the Giants.
Now, compared, obviously, from Aaron Rodgers, we've seen the comparisons between the two Jets quarterbacks from this year and last year, which was Zach Wilson. Remember, Zach Wilson is going to make the quarterback, which is now Aaron Rodgers, fight for his spot. 99% sure that Aaron Rodgers is the number one starter. And Adam, I'm pretty sure you and probably everyone else agrees with this. Zach Wilson is not going to start unless Aaron Rodgers is injured or something is wrong with Aaron Rodgers. Okay? Zach Wilson is going to learn a lot, I think, from Aaron Rodgers, right? So for Rodgers to come here in New York and play the games that he has, right? You start the season Monday night against the against the Bills. That's a big game to start the season against, right? Then not only do you play the Bills the first night of your season, then you play the Cowboys. Big NFC East team. You got the Patriots. Then you have the Chiefs, which are obviously going to be good. They're the Chiefs. The Broncos. Then the Eagles, NFC champions last year. October 29th, the Giants. A lot of people don't see what others see with how good the Giants could be this year, right? How good the Denver Broncos could be this year. How much better, and it's scary to say, how much better Philadelphia could be this year with who they drafted. And we said it last week and after the podcast episode after the draft, they're the Philadelphia Eagles Bulldogs, kind of. There's a lot of Bulldogs in there. But after the Giants, it really doesn't get easier because you have the Chargers with Justin Herbert. That's a primetime game. Raiders are a primetime game. That's with a healthy Jimmy Garoppolo, hopefully. The Bills, again, another tough game. Dolphins, another really good game with Tua Tagovailoa. Falcons, kind of up in the air. Texans, who knows what's going to be the situation. Dolphins, again. But I definitely think that the Jets have a lot better of a chance with Rodgers, and I think he leads them to a playoff game, leads them to a playoff win. I don't see him winning the Super Bowl. Not this year. Definitely not this year. Next year? Yeah, I do, because I think that he only gets better with Robert Saleh, and I think it's going to take a year to go into the program, into the organization, the playbook, and figure everything out. It's not going to happen overnight, right? It's not going to happen in one season. You know, it happened with Tom Brady. That's just because it's Tom Brady. Tom Brady is the best of all time. He is the greatest of all time in the NFL, no matter who or what people say about him. But this is a guy in Aaron Rodgers that should be in the top 10 in quarterback listings. And he is, for good reason. Now, I want to ask you both this. This is going to be a little tougher. I want you to give me your top 10 of NFL quarterbacks. Aiden, let's start with you.
Top 10. Can I still use Tom Brady? Are we doing all time or are we doing
current? In this NFL season, who are your top 10 quarterbacks to enter in the season?
So Daniel Jones. No, I'm kidding. All right. So this is tough. I'm gonna. Oh, okay. Jalen Hurts. That one blew by my mind. Jalen Hurts. Obviously, do I have to put them in order, or can I just list out 10?
Put them in order. Go from 1 to 10.
Oh, you're killing me here.
See, this one, I'm giving Adam a little time to think about it. I already know my 10. I know my 10 already. That was easy.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts. Obviously, they both made the Super Bowl. Amazing quarterbacks. I'm gonna go with a sleeper only because I just have so much trust in him that he'll be amazing next season. I'm going with Kyler Murray. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers. You can't. Actually, no, I'm going to switch. Aaron Rodgers at 3, Kyler Murray at 4. I don't see Justin Fields doing anything. Josh Allen at 5. I think he can power the Bills. Lamar Jackson at 6. Obviously, Herbert at 7. Dak Prescott, I think he has a down year once again. I got to put him at 8. You're killing me here, Matt. Trevor Lawrence at 9. Well, they just made the playoffs last season. They had a pretty good run. Russell Wilson's definitely not going in the top 10 after that horrific season last year. If he's healthy, I'm going to put Jimmy Garoppolo because I think him and Devontae Adams will do amazing together. But if not, I'm going to go Tua at 10.
All right, Adam. That list surprised me a little bit more than I thought. So let's get your thoughts on this. Who are your NFL top 10 quarterbacks entering the season this year?
Can I go from 10 to 1? Because I want to shock Aiden right now.
All right, go for it. Why not? Just spice things up a little.
All right. My number 10 is Geno Smith. It's Geno Smith, okay? Because the Seahawks were great last year. They were great. My number 9 is going to be Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, come on with Joe Burrow. Number 8 is going to be Justin Herbert. Number 7 is going to be Tua. Number 6, Lamar Jackson. Number 5, Josh Allen. Number 4, Aaron Rodgers. Number 3, Joe Burrow. Number 2, Jalen Hurts. Number 1, Pat Mahomes.
All right, now
in my defense, I did forget Joe Burrow was, kind of a human being. But we did have the top 5 almost exactly alike. You can't lie.
Okay, so who do you replace Joe Burrow with?
Oh, no. My top 5 would be exactly how Adam's top 5 would be. Mahomes, Hurts, Burrow. Who was your 4? Was it Josh Allen? Aaron Rodgers and then Josh Allen. I'm going to say top 5 is exactly like him.
Aiden, you had Kyler Murray over Joe Burrow. Are you keeping that or are you changing that?
Nah, I'll change. I forgot Joe Burrow was an athlete. So I'm going to have to – the top 5 with Adam, I'm going to have to agree. But number 6 for me would definitely have to be Kyler Murray. I think he's going to have a great season this year.
Now, obviously, going to surprise you guys as usual. But I'm going to do the same thing Adam did. I'm going to go 10 to 1. My number 10 is going to be Daniel Jones. And I'm going to tell you why. Not just because I've loved Daniel Jones since day one. It's the fact that he's progressed from last year. He's looked great in the offseason, the workouts, and the weapons he now has with Hyatt, Darren Waller, Isaiah Hodgins back, Shepard back. My number 9, okay, interesting one, is going to be Russell Wilson. I think he has a bounce-back year. I think Sean Payton is going to help out Russell Wilson compared to what happened last year in Denver. So, Jones, Wilson. Number 7, I got to go with – it's a no-brainer for me. I have to go with Trevor Lawrence here because of what he also did with the Jaguars and what he continues to do with the weapons he has. Doug Peterson did a great job last year. So I think Trevor Lawrence only gets better. Number 7, I'm honestly going to say Lamar Jackson. I know that's a little high for Lamar Jackson, what the abilities that he has and the weapons he has, but I don't see Lamar Jackson coming back as strong as last year and years past because the ability of what he has and the weapons he has, he wants to use his legs more than he should, I think. And that's why I rank him at that level. Number 6, I say probably Aaron Rodgers, just because of the guys that I'm going to have in front of him. And Aaron Rodgers, MVP candidate no matter what. He's one of the best in the league. He's struggled at times. He's overcome it. All right. Number 5, I got to go with one or two guys here. And this is tough. Jimmy Garoppolo or Jalen Hurts. Now, I don't have Jalen Hurts at 1 or 2 because of another reason. I'll give you that when I get to him. But I definitely think that Jimmy Garoppolo takes the number 5 spot here. Number 4, I'm going to go Jalen Hurts because of the year he had last year and the year that I think he could have this year. He only is going to progress with the offense and the weapons that this Philadelphia team has added. Now, number 3, I got to go Josh Allen. He's got an arm like none other. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL with no doubt. Number 2 has to be Joe Burrow. Aiden, I still don't know how you forgot about him. I mean, that kills me how you forgot about Joe Burrow, Joe Shiesty, whatever you want to call him. He is incredible.
Listen, if his name's not Daniel Jones, he's not good.
Now, see, but I'm surprised you didn't have Daniel Jones on your top 10.
No, I mean, I don't see him having as great of a year as he did last year. I think he's going to be somewhat close, but definitely not top 10.
All right, now, obviously, the number 1 is Patrick Mahomes. Now, I'm going to give you guys a sleeper pick for this year. And he's a guy that Adam mentioned in his number at the top 10, Geno Smith. I love the fact that you mentioned Geno Smith, Adam. Now, I don't have him on my top 10, but he's on the number 11. He's in the 11th spot in quarterbacks this year because what he did last year was extremely impressive. How he's bounced around and what he's done, the offensive weapons he added this year, I think are definitely going to help him out and help out this team get past what was a tough loss against the 49ers in San Francisco, against a really good defense, an offense that had a lot of willpower as well. So Geno is not on the top 10, but if it was top 11, he's on that list. There's no doubt about it. Now, one more thing before we go is a free agent, DeAndre Hopkins. He is one of the better receivers in the NFL. Now, I'm going to ask both of you this. Where does DeAndre Hopkins end up, and why would he be a good fit on that team? Adam, let's start with you.
There's only 2 teams right now that I think would need an extra piece. The first, this is going to shock some people, the Baltimore Ravens. I think if Lamar Jackson has another piece to go along with Odell Beckham Jr., that would be very, very interesting. And the other team, I think this is going to be happy for you guys. I'm going to go with the New York Giants. Because obviously they got Darren Waller from the Raiders. Even if they get another piece, this would help them a lot, especially for a team like the Giants. This would be huge.
No, I definitely have to agree with you. I do see, in my opinion, after what I'm seeing on social media over the last couple of days, I don't know if you guys saw it, but there's a picture going around of Saquon Barkley and DeAndre Hopkins working out together. Now, I don't know if that's a hint or, a shout out to media being like, hey, I'm thinking of going here. But if the Giants do somehow get a hold of DeAndre Hopkins, I think that'd be amazing, especially for Daniel Jones. The Giants' offense would be not unstoppable, but obviously better than it was last year. Now, if we do say we give a pretty decent sized contract to DeAndre Hopkins, a veteran wide receiver, be like, hey, come over here. For the next season, do we have the ability to re-sign Saquon Barkley?
I don't think that would be more of an issue. And I think that's something that the front office would definitely be able to figure out, because I think you want Saquon more than you would want DeAndre Hopkins, with the weapons that already the Giants have. Now, we know the injury bug has been a factor with especially Sterling Shepard. Barkley's been injured a couple of times. So I definitely think, would DeAndre Hopkins be a great fit? Absolutely. Every Giants fan would love to see another big physical wide receiver. A team I think he's going to that's not the Giants could be the Cleveland Browns. And that is reuniting with his former quarterback, and that would be none other than Deshaun Watson. So I think the best fit for a guy like Hopkins at this age, at this point of his NFL career, I think it would be a great idea for Cleveland to go out and get a receiver like this. Because now, think about it, you have Amari Cooper, right? Cooper, Landry if he's healthy, right? You have weapons. you add DeAndre Hopkins to that list for Deshaun Watson and Nick Chubb, look out. That team is going to be a good team. And remember, that team has to face the Bengals, the Ravens, and the Steelers twice a year. That's not an easy division, especially with what Baltimore has added and how good Cincinnati has been. So if you're Cleveland and you know that Hopkins is on the list, I definitely think that this is an opportunity for Cleveland to go out, get a star player, and help out Deshaun Watson a little more entering his second year with the Browns.
Now, if DeAndre Hopkins does end up signing a deal with the Browns, I think it'd be a smart move for the Browns to go out and look for possibly another quarterback. They could Watson and DeAndre couldn't get it done in Texas, especially with J.J. Watt on that team, almost prime J.J. Watt. They couldn't get it done. Now, do I think giving Watson more weapons would make him better? Probably not. I think you branch out, and obviously there has to be a better option for the QB spot.
Now, do you draft in that situation, or are you kind of just looking at free agency?
If you're kind of in a win now, if you want to be in a win now, or like, hey, let's try to make the playoffs this year type of spirit, if you're the Browns, I think you 100% try to look for free agency. I don't think a young quarterback will be able to handle all that, especially on I'm going to say, mediocre team. Now, do I see a quarterback like Zach Wilson going there? Probably not. I think Zach Wilson should stay at the Jets as long as possible and get mentored, kind of like mentioned by Aaron Rodgers, kind of like what Eli Manning did to Daniel Jones.
All right, well, a lot of questions, and hopefully we'll get an answer to where DeAndre Hopkins will end up. Hopefully it ends in a good situation for Hopkins, and hopefully Aaron Rodgers got enough of Taylor Swift this weekend at MetLife Stadium. He was dancing. He was living the party. He saw the confetti. Maybe he sees that at the end of this season in the Super Bowl. We'll find all that out in February. But for right now, we're going to say so long here on episode 15. Adam Rothschild, Aiden Roman, I'm Matthew Kaufman saying so long. And don't forget, you can follow us on Instagram at M&A Sports Talk, on YouTube, subscribe, and follow on Spotify to listen to previous and current podcast episodes. Aiden Roman, Adam Rothschild, Matthew Kaufman saying so long. Enjoy this Tuesday night, and we will see you next week for episode number 16 of M&A Sports Talk. Enjoy the rest of your night.
The 2-0. Driven in the air to right field. Going back.